Hey, guys, welcome back. Monday, and we're here to recap 90 Day Fiancé. And look who we have with us today. Special guest, Max, the Celeb Talk guy. Hi,
What's
Max. How
up?
are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. As always, it's good to see you. And I was just actually talking to Max, guys. I don't want to embarrass you or anything, put you on the spot, man, but I'm so excited for you because you were just on Lifetime and you were pretty much a part of this panel who was opening up the newest season of Married at First Sight.
Yeah, it was a blast. Married at First Sight. We did the same thing for season 11. This is season 12, but the season 11 one was like a quarantine version. This was in the studio, and it actually turned out really well. I was pretty happy with it. It was fun.
Yeah, watching on you, I was like, look at this guy do his thing, man. He's doing it.
Thanks. Yeah, it was interesting. I was exhausted, and it was a long day. But I think it's going to be a great season. The cast looks very dramatic. If you want to watch drama, definitely Married at First Sight Wednesday night. It's going to be worth checking out for sure.
Well, I know that we're here to talk about 90 Day Fiance and the kind of chaos that's happening. And it's always fun, whether it's Married at First Sight or 90 Day Fiance. You always get a new cast and new chaos, I feel.
Yep.
You said that you were in the studio. I'm just curious about that experience a little bit because, again, this is major because last time you did it in quarantine. How long did you spend in the studio that day?
I don't even know. Maybe like 10, 12 plus hours, something like that. I don't even know, though. Probably maybe 10. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was a long. And then before, I was trying to write down jokes and prepare everything. And so it was a long process for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you haven't already, make sure you go check it out. And I guess we should jump right into 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
Before we do, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. And I'm going to ask you, Max, who your favorite 90 Day couple is this season. And then we'll start off with them and then work our way down.
I think just for straight love and whatnot, it's probably Tariq and Hazel. But for drama, which I like more, I'd probably go with maybe Andrew and Amira. They're a little more quiet, but I think there's going to be a very bizarre turn of events with those two.
See, I find him to be, honestly, and I hate to come on here and be biased or sway at all. I really do. But I find Andrew to be so creepy and a little.
Oh, he is. He totally is. He's like, isn't he really dramatic? Like, have you noticed how he always says stuff with that really, even though I kind of do too, but he's like incredibly dramatic every time he talks on the show.
Yeah, well, and he has that look, and like when he's slamming his phone down on the table and he's like, they hung up on me again.
Right.
It's like, I love how, I don't know if it's clever editing or what, but TLC panning over to the beautiful pool and the ocean hitting it while they're like, yes, Amira's been detained. I'm like,
I was just saying the reason I like those two, not as a couple, I think they are bizarre because like me personally, I feel like Amira, if we're just looking at attraction levels, she's more attractive than him. I'm sorry. Maybe she likes him for his personality, but
hands down.
Yeah, their attraction levels don't add up. So it's like, is she using him to come to America? But I just think this whole detained and all that kind of stuff is just so bizarre and crazy, and I kind of find it interesting.
Well, just to be fair, he found this information, and because you follow different blogs and whatever the case is, but he found the information about going to Mexico in order to get Amira into the United States on a Facebook page.
I know. Yeah.
That's actually, I find that I don't want to say dumb, but I find that to just be dumb, especially because the laws change every few days over there where it's kind of letting you know what the guidelines are to let people in and out.
It was a huge risk. It was stupid. They probably shouldn't have done it. And after watching last night's episode, I kind of have a hunch that Amira, it's not a spoiler, but I have a hunch that Amira might just get on a plane back to France.
Okay. All right. That would be interesting. I mean,
yeah.
If her dad has anything to do with it, I feel like you might be right.
Well, right. And we saw in the preview for the next episode that it looks like she gets out of the detention center after 3 or 4 days. And my gut is telling me that she's going to stay in a hotel for a few days and then she'll probably just get on a plane back to France. Maybe she'll go and see him. I don't understand. Where did she get detained? Is she in the same city as Andrew? That's my kind of big question.
I don't think so because she's in Mexico City, right? And he's in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, you're right. Yep.
But why wouldn't you think that he would at least jump in a car and try to go to the airport?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Why hasn't he left the resort? Like, I get it because this, you have to be quarantined and whatnot, but still it's like, if you really gave a crap that much, wouldn't you at least try to go do, besides just calling, wouldn't you go and try and do something else?
See, I was thinking that too. And I was also thinking, isn't there somebody that you can hire or go down to the hotel? You're staying at a resort in Puerto Vallarta, which Puerto Vallarta is, I mean, it's beautiful, but also there's a lot of people who speak English and Spanish there. Why not go try to find somebody who you can offer them maybe $100 and say, hey, can you actually jump on the phone? Can I steal 15 minutes of your time and translate this in Spanish?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely didn't really seem to try that much. Like, I will say that he really did not seem to give. He seemed to kind of care, but it was like there was a lot of other stuff he could have done.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, let's move on from Andrew and Amira, because Andrew kind of, he makes me,
he's bizarre
a little bit, but he's a little bizarre. But guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button. I want to talk to you about Jovi and Yara.
Yeah, they're an interesting one. You know, I've thought all season that Yara is a spoiled, you-know-what, not very nice. And after last episode, I will say, I think deep down she kind of does like Jovi. And I just feel like she really is kind of a brat. I mean, what do you think about her?
Well, did it sway you because you saw her feelings kind of come out at the airport? Is that what swayed you?
That, and she did say when she was getting a pedicure that she does have feelings and she's going to miss Jovi. And she, and him being gone for 4 weeks and then coming back for 4 weeks, it helps make their relationship, I guess, spicier, and they miss each other, I guess. So I do think she's kind of being portrayed as being a bit more spoiled than she really is. But I still do think she does come off as a brat, at least on the show.
No, she does come off as a brat. And, watching her, she wants what she wants. But at the same time, I always sway on, I kind of teeter this line because she gave up her life in the Ukraine to come here to New Orleans, which she's never been to before. She doesn't know the land and she doesn't really know what to do. Like she said, she went out on the streets and somebody vomited on her shoe. Like this isn't the cleanest city to attend, so it's
no, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. But what I thought was even more interesting in this episode was Jovi knows his friends, right? Which friends are, in your corner and which friends you would never probably stick your girlfriend with. Why would you call this friend to go hang out with Yara, who's going to spill all of your darkest secrets?
She really did not hold back, and oh my God. The interesting thing, though, was I at least to me, it seemed like when the friend was talking about Jovi doing God knows what with those women, it didn't seem like Yara cared, but she didn't seem like she really cared that. But then we talked about the ex-girlfriend and her, peeing in the bed or whatever. Then it was like she was like kind of freaking out. It just seemed like more so she didn't really care about the exotic dancers, you could say. What did you think of that? That was kind of bizarre.
I mean, I felt like this woman was, the friend, I felt like she was dropping a bomb and she's like, oh, your reaction's not that big? Here's another one.
I know, exactly.
It's like she kept on digging and digging and digging and just saying that he slept with almost every stripper in the strip club. And then his girlfriend's peeing in the bed, but probably not the same bed that you sleep in now. It's like, what reaction are you looking for? Because in my mind, if somebody came to that girl and said that, how would you react?
Well, that, and it's like, why is she saying that? Was Yara digging for that? It doesn't sound like she was really trying to get the info out of her. She was just out of the blue, just blurted it out and said it. So, not the best friend, kind of weird. And the other side to me is thinking, what was going on with Jovi? We know Jovi as a partier, but I'm kind of interested now more in his past because maybe there's more just bizarre craziness to his past too.
Okay. All right. Well, we know in the upcoming episode that Yara is going to be doing a sit down with Jovi's mom, and she talks about how she was engaged before, and then she met Jovi. That obviously is a huge red flag. It's going to be interesting, but I just thought about this while we're sitting here talking. As far as Yara, she did mention, I want to come here and I want to be best friends with Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian. Maybe she's watched so many of these different reality shows or like Paris Hilton, and she sees that they put on a persona and a character, and she's really trying to commit to that character. So while she might not be this intense and this spoiled, this might be a little bit of her. She might really be playing up to a character.
Yeah, I could see that. And I also read on Reddit that, I don't know how true this is, but I've read that the cast and the camera crew would make Jovi and Yara do their lines over and over and over again. And then eventually they would just get so frustrated with each other, they start fighting. And then they were using those clips. I don't know if that's true or not, but I could kind of see that because I could see Jovi and Yara, if the camera crew says, hey, say that again. And then all the next thing you know, Yara's just frustrated. She starts crying. Jovi's frustrated. He's mad. So I don't know if it's true, but I wouldn't be shocked at that. Both those things. I do agree with you, though. I could totally see Yara trying to kind of have on this personality just for the show.
Well, you usually, I feel like, are one step ahead of the game, whether it's with Lifetime, Married at First Sight, or a lot of the TLC shows. I see that you were talking about your new Discovery Plus subscription and everything else. Did you see, before we move on to the next couple, did you see the rumor that Yara might have just given birth?
Yeah, and I have just the weirdest story with that. But yes, I've actually heard that weeks and weeks and weeks ago. I have a friend that lives near them, and she kept telling me, these two are married and had a baby. And I just was like, there's no way. But now there's rumors, there's screenshots from Amazon. They have like a baby shower list on Amazon. Someone found an ornament, it just a bunch of weird little things that pretty much we all can come out and say, it sounds like they did have a baby. And the main thing too is their season was filmed last like January, I think.
So they would have had plenty of time.
Plenty of time, yeah. So I also heard another rumor, complete rumor, but I've also kind of heard that there's a possibility that she might have actually taken the baby and gone back home.
Oh, man. Okay.
I don't know how true it is, but that's what I've heard.
All right, so we're going to have to stay tuned for that. Let's move on to our next couple because you mentioned them already. But before we do, guys, again, hit that like button if you haven't already. And make sure you check out Max on his YouTube channel, The Celeb Talk Guy. But I want to go to Tariq and Hazel because this episode really made me like him more.
Yeah. I think he's a bizarre guy. He's pretty eccentric. He's kind of outgoing and just kind of different. But deep down, I think he's a really good guy. He has a good heart. And when we got to see his relationship with his daughter, same thing. I was like melting in my chair. I thought they were sweet. And I really honestly do like Tariq.
Yeah. And the fact that, he was sitting there, his focus really is his daughter before, which kind of just makes you really love him even more because his daughter, we know, has high functioning autism, his daughter, Ari. And he was saying that sometimes you may need a little bit more patience and have to try to understand how to navigate your relationship with his daughter. Right.
Yeah.
And Hazel coming in, at first, I thought before the season started, I was like, oh, this girl wants to come here, get her green card, and then probably start hanging out with more females than actually men, right? Yeah. But watching her in this episode and walking up and really putting in the effort to hug Ari and kind of be there, maybe that's just her maternal instinct and she really does want to still leave Tariq and be with women. I don't know. I'm so confused on them.
Yeah, and I've kind of heard a rumor on them too. But I think with Hazel, I think she is sweet and genuine and nice. But I think, she's divided because I personally believe that she's only interested in women. And I think she's just with Tariq to come to America. That's honestly that's what my gut is telling me. But I think they've been together for a very long time. They have this like friendship, relationship kind of thing. And so they do have a bond. I don't know if it's really a physical connection, but they do have that bond, that friendship. I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon, but I would not be shocked if all of a sudden they get a third, girlfriend in their relationship because I just don't think Hazel is really physically attracted to Tariq.
Right. Oof. Okay.
I really do. I think she has a big heart. I think she loves him as a friend, and I think she's going to stick around, and I think she's a really genuine, sweet person. I just don't know if she's made me like, in love with him, but I think they have a great friendship, great relationship, and I think it's going to get pretty interesting with those two too.
Well, I mean, we'll have to, I guess, stay tuned to figure it out, but I can't wait to see where they're actually sitting there and shopping for their next girlfriend, where they're going on the, where they're on the internet and he's like, do you want thick? Do you want curvy? Do you want slim? It's like, what do we do? Is this a video game? That
was weird. That was really weird. And then when Hazel was asking Tariq about if the women are hot, in Virginia Beach, that was kind of weird too. So I just think she loves him as a friend. That's it. And probably eventually they will just have that type of a three-way relationship. Very odd, very different, but hey, who am I to judge? But I think they're always going to have that friendship bond, but as a couple, probably not.
Okay, that's fair. I want to move on to another odd couple. And I want to get your opinion on them first before I chime in. But Mike and Natalie are so strange to me. And I feel like one side is really trying and then the other side is just like, eh.
Yeah. It seems like it's always like either flip-flop. Like, it's just the weirdest thing. We have seen Mike really trying, at least in my opinion. He's been trying. He's been doing stuff. He has been taking her around. I feel like he's trying as best as he knows. And Natalie never seems happy. Now, Mike could be better, definitely. But it really doesn't seem like Natalie's really involved in this relationship. But then we started off this last episode where Natalie was saying, I love you. You're so sweet. You're so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike was kind of like, you know what? This just seems really fake and not good. So I think they're kind of flip-flopping back and forth. For me, I have a hard time even watching them because Natalie is a chronic complainer. She's constantly complaining. And I watch these two thinking, why are they even together? Like, why doesn't she just go back home? They don't seem to love each other. Why not just end their relationship?
Okay. See, I was actually kind of opposite from you.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, because with Natalie, I was watching her and I'm like, I feel like she was trying to go out and like walk around his farmland kind of area with her in the middle of nowhere and feed the fish and trying to learn how to do the laundry and also making him a healthy meal. And she's trying to make him better, even though, she's complaining, but she's like, you eat all this meat, you're unhealthy. She calls him fat. And she's like, you need to lose weight. I need to gain more weight. But it seemed to me like she was really sort of trying to put in an effort to make the best of this situation that she wasn't really expecting. But it's interesting that you think the opposite.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. I do get that. I just feel like a lot of the stuff that she's complaining and talking about, it's like, wouldn't they have FaceTime? Like the population of the city, who, what kind of stores are in the city, what she can do, that kind of stuff. Wouldn't they have like talked about that before she came here? And I feel like it's just, she seems like a city girl. Why? It just doesn't seem like a good fit for me. That's my biggest thing. Why did she come here? I think she wants to go out and live and do and meet people and hang out with her friends and live a normal life. I just don't see her doing that, with him. So that whole as a couple, either way you look at it, they just don't seem like a good match at the end of the day for me. And it's just really hard for me to watch. But I do see what you're saying. It's just like, wouldn't this stuff have gotten brought up before?
Well, and sometimes I question, and I always have callers who come on here with me too, and they'll be like, do these people who come over here, or even like, for example, Big Ed going over there, right? Do these people who were kind of crossing paths not have Google? Do they not do their research before they go?
FaceTime. Yeah, I mean, just FaceTime the guy. Have him drive around his car. FaceTime. You can see the city. You can see everything. You can see how far it is. You can hear from him that he has to supposedly drive 3 hours each way to and from work, and you're going to wake up alone. It's likely going to be lonely. I would not want to live out there, and I don't think Natalie's going to want to either.
Well, since we're on Mike and Natalie, I do want to bring up this because Yara and Jovi weren't the only ones to be rumored to have a baby. They're saying that Natalie potentially was pregnant too. Did you hear that?
I did, and I think there was, I don't know what the exact proof was on that, but I did hear that, and I saw a picture of her. I think the proof was that she looked a little bit bigger, so maybe she was pregnant, maybe not, but I wouldn't be shocked because she always wanted to have a family. Within this 90-day fiancé world, she's a bit on the older side, and I think she's probably bored, lonely, and she wants someone to be with her. So I would not be shocked at all if they had a baby.
Okay, that's fair. And you know what's really sad is, before we move on to our next couple, social media sucks.
Yeah.
Just to be fair, like if she actually did just gain a little bit of weight because maybe she's lonely in this place and maybe she's eating more for her to like, who knows? Yeah. And it's not in fact that she's pregnant. It's like, imagine this poor girl reading these comments like, oh, this sucks.
I know. If I was on the show, I wouldn't even read them. I could really read my own comments because people somehow can't seem to stand me either. So oh my God, I feel the hate would definitely get old. It would get annoying. And but she is active on social media. She is still posting pictures. So I'm sure she's reading something, but I wouldn't be shocked if she did have a baby.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of another couple who's rumored to be having a baby, why am I blanking on his name? Julia and
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Robert for some reason.
No, Brandon. Yeah. They have a little spoiler, not a spoiler. We got to see in a preview that she took a pregnancy test, and it was a big drama. But I have a hunch, even though if they aren't using protection, I don't know how it's negative, but I kind of have a hunch that that's going to be negative because I've seen her in pictures now. She looks the exact same. I don't think she had a baby.
Okay. Well, she might not have had a baby, but the situation is so bizarre to me because his parents are just over the top control.
Yeah. And either way you look at it, you can say they're controlling, you can say that they're doing the right thing. Either way, they just got to move out. If that's their parents' deal, and they don't want to agree with it, just move out, get your own place, and you can protect or not protect anything you want or don't want to, and you can do anything, you can sleep anywhere you want. It's like, just move out. Their parents, I think the mom is way too involved in the relationship. She needs to kind of take a step back. But it's like, okay, I get it. They're living in her house. I do kind of understand that. So it's like, just move out. And then she doesn't have to work on the farm. Julia can do her own thing. She can wake up when she wants to. She can sleep where she wants to. Just move out. And if he has a truck, Brandon, if he has things, if he was buying all this stuff, it seems like he has a decent job. And why can't he just afford just the bare minimum rent, get a roommate even? It's like, why just, that's so frustrating for me when I watch that.
Yeah, well, exactly, because it's not like they live in this big city. You don't live in New York or Los Angeles where the rent is astronomical. I agree with you. You could even get a studio, or you could get like a small little trailer or something. I'm sure it wouldn't be
do anything. You could do literally anything for probably, in all honesty, if they were to get a trailer, I bet you it'd be about $500-600 a month. And if he could not save an extra $500 a month, then he needs to go through his budget, because he looks like he has a decent job. It's really annoying for me, honestly, like just hearing that. And then it looks like he ruins his entire relationship with his mom, which that's kind of annoying, because it's like the whole problem could be solved if they moved out. So that has been frustrating for me too.
So I do want to ask you though, because the mom and dad were pretty adamant about the 9th not being the day of their wedding because of Mother's Day. But it seemed like Julia at this point, she's like, I'm so sick in her head. Like, I'm so sick of you guys telling me what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it, that I want the 9th, and the 9th is what it is.
Right.
Do you?
You
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I have a personality like Julia too, where if someone tells me I can't do something, I kind of want to do it. And I get it. But I'm not a mother. I'm not a woman. But my take would be, okay, let's say Sunday is for Mother's Day. Saturday is for the wedding. We will divvy them up. And I feel like if she was I don't want to use the word giving mother, but if she was just a little more, I don't want to say loving, but if she was a little more, I guess, giving, she would want to share the day. Like, it would be it'd be a family, like a big family thing. We can share it together, and it'd be a big celebration. And I just thought that was kind of selfish of her, the mom, to say that it has to be on a different date, because of it's just have a big celebration. They can all come together and it'll be fun.
Right. It was funny when the grandpa pulls out his phone and he's like, okay, the 9th. And they're like, no.
I know. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, don't put that in there.
He was kind of funny. I actually liked him. He was kind of going along with it and, talking about Brandon and Julia and them hooking up. And I kind of thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I like the grandpa. But even going back to the mom, we see how, and I'm somebody who has a really close relationship with my mom. So it's just hard to see that the mom is really kind of, both of the women are these dominant women who they're kind of like pick and choose which woman is more important in your life. And you can see this is beating him up a little bit. And he's starting to be like, well, I need to be here for my potential wife. And Mom, you're putting the pressure on me. And we see in the next episode where the parents are like, Julia, if you're going to be here, you need to start helping out more on the farm. And she's like, that's not my thing. I'm not here to work on your farm.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable. This is just really weird. It makes me uncomfortable to watch. See, I'm a problem solver. I try to solve everyone's problems. When I see this, I'm just like, you know what? Move out, and all your problems would be solved. But of course, it's reality TV, and they need to have problems and drama for it to make it entertaining. So I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I think they are going to really fight. I think it's going to come down to the wire where Julia basically just says, you can marry me, and we're going to move out and have a very far distance, from your parents, or you can stay close with your mom and dad, and I'm going to leave. That is what my hunch is. She gives him that ultimatum.
Oh, well, we've seen the previews, and it looks like it's pretty tough to watch, but I guess it's going to be what keeps us watching. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we can even steal you back by the end of the season and see what you think about all of this. But
definitely.
Last but not least, before we cover, I believe this is the last couple, unless I'm missing someone. Guys, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get more eyes. And Stephanie and Ryan.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we have Rebecca and Zied too. Yeah, no, Stephanie and Ryan.
Oh, yeah, Rebecca and Zied. How could we forget them?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, we have Rebecca and Zied. That was pretty good. They were interesting. We can hit Ryan and Steph, whatever you want. But, Rebecca and Zied, it was interesting. I thought... See, I'm split too. Like, all these couples for me are so uncomfortable because, I get it. Rebecca just got out of a marriage with a foreign man who completely used her. So I understand why Tiffany, her daughter, was uncomfortable and really had her guard up with this whole Zied situation. I know a lot of people are probably going to say, well, why did, Tiffany and her, I think, boyfriend or fiance, Micah, have to come to the airport? I kind of get it, though, because, like, you really want, clearly her mom, Rebecca, isn't making the best decisions. So she wants to kind of be there. I kind of honestly do somewhat get that, because Rebecca has made a lot of wrong decisions. But I will say, my God, Tiffany and especially Micah, the boyfriend, fiance, I think he's going to go head to head with Zied. They both seem like alpha males. I think especially that Micah, man, seems angry and mad and just like out of his comfort zone. And I think he's going to really give Zied a hard time, kind of push his buttons. And I think Zied will probably just give it right back to him eventually.
Yeah, you definitely have two alpha males here, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because you could see her daughter staring at her across the table while they're eating once they left the airport. And Rebecca really is like a schoolgirl. She's smitten.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, I mean, anything that he says or does is just like she is so giddy over. But
I know.
he seems like he's so unenthusiastic about everything, but he's probably hiding his true feelings at the fact that, like, why did you show up here with this Micah guy?
Because he's already made it known he doesn't like Micah. So that, and I think it was like an 18-hour flight. He probably was tired, the language barrier. And I think overall he was just really uncomfortable to be there, to meet Tiffany and Micah for the first time. He just was on the plane for however many hours. He was tired, new country, the language barrier. And it was probably just a mix of it all. And I feel like he's never really overly enthusiastic. Like, I guess he doesn't really ever have that much enthusiasm to begin with, at least. It seems like from the last season, at least.
Right. Well, but her daughter did have a great question, which was, what do you plan on doing for work?
That's exactly what I would have said.
Yeah, but then he's like, I get married, and then after I get married, I stay home for 6 months, and then after that, I'll figure it out. And she's like, right, but what does that mean? Like, do you have an idea? And he's like, no.
Exactly. And see, that's my same thing. I would be just like Tiffany and say, okay, what are your goals? What are your goals? What do you plan on doing? Are you going to learn a trade? Are you going, even though he does have technically 9 months to get a job, still, it's like, you got to have somewhat of a plan. 9 months is going to go by just like that before he knows it. And if he doesn't, maybe he can learn, maybe he can do something in the meantime. And yeah, I would be really upset about that, actually.
And also, how annoying would that be for her daughter to be sitting there thinking okay, my mom doesn't have the best job already, right? She's the manager of a restaurant or works in a restaurant in some capacity. And now she's going to support you for the next 9 months while you sit at home. He's a large man. He probably eats a lot of food. Like it can't be the cheapest. And she just got this apartment that she can barely afford. It's going to be a lot.
It is just honestly, Rebecca seems to be a person that puts herself in a really odd situation. Like, she's always putting herself in these bad situations. She should have probably saved some more money. Maybe she has some savings, but she's kind of made it clear she really doesn't, and that her ex financially destroyed her, I guess you could say. So this is going to get kind of ugly, I feel like. And maybe Rebecca's planning on just getting Zied a job, once he can, at her restaurant, fast food place, whatever. But it kind of turned me off and made me feel weird when he wasn't totally sure or specific on what he plans. Like, don't you have any plans, any dreams, any goals besides just come to America?
He's like, no, I stay home. You take care of me. That's
I know. Yeah, that was just, I didn't like that. That wasn't cool. Red flag.
All right. So another red flag. And now we're finally at our last couple, Stephanie and Ryan. I have to say, I do find her to be a little kooky. I think that she probably tips the bottle a little bit, especially when I see her in her interviews. Like, she has that one eye that's kind of closing while she's talking. And we've all been there before. Maybe you haven't, but on this side we have. Her and Ryan, the way that he talks to her is completely disrespectful.
Yep. Yeah. That was bizarre. See, we have never actually met Ryan before. I don't think. That was the first time he was actually on camera. He was rude. He was angry. He was trying to act like he was above her. He was just really, really, really being rude. But then, of course, too, she was kind of, giving him some attitude too. But if I was in her shoes, I would have just said, okay, you want me to end this K-1 visa? We're ending it, and I'm going to block your number, and I'm going to stop your freaking paycheck that I'm paying you. You know what I mean? It's like I would have told him right there, because he was saying, I'm working all day, I'm busting my butt, and it's okay. Well, number one, Ryan, she's paying your paycheck, and number two, she owns 2 businesses. I'm sure she's working some too. She definitely. There's no way you can own 2 businesses and not work some. So I'm sure she's working her fair share too. And like I just said, she is paying your she's footing the bill and she's giving your family money.
I would have dropped that bomb right there.
I would have said it, and I would have said, screw you, we are done. I'm blocking your number, and screw you. Now you don't have a job, and now your family's
cut now.
Yeah, your paycheck's gone. You're done. I mean, that's what I would have done. The weird thing about these two, I will say from kind of a TLC side, is their K-1 visa was never even approved. So what are they doing on this show?
I didn't know that.
This is the season of their K-1 visa is approved and they come to America and get married. I don't know if they just kind of threw them in the bunch because of the pandemic and everything, and they were kind of short in a couple. But the K-1 visa was not approved. They're still in the process. She's talking about going to see him. What are they doing on this season? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and it's really interesting to just see the dynamic. First of all, if she's signing up any other sugar babies, I will happily be nice to her and I will take the $1,300 one. Yeah. But for this guy, the way that he talks to her, the way that she has this kind of bizarre behavior, she wants to break a record in the Guinness World Records for hula hooping 5 days straight. And she's just a little out there walking around with her cat, feeding the cat milk, talking about Daddy Ryan coming home. And then what I think irked me the most was like when she was letting him know, I support you and I send you watches. I send you clothes and things for your family. And he's like, I never asked for these watches. Yeah. But it's like the very first episode that we met him, she was like, how many watches do you need? And he's like, well, for my friends, maybe like 5 or 10 or something like that. And it's like, you do. So now you're on camera and you're trying to act like this alpha male who can take care of yourself when in all reality, you are a sugar baby.
Yeah. And the other thing too is the borders are closed. So how much work is he really doing at a resort? Like, what is it? Just he's a liar. I think he's cheating on her with multiple women. He's using her for money. That's it. That's the only thing. And he's probably just like, I'm going to keep using you. And then if you break up with me, but he probably thinks he has a job, which that is not the case. So it's a weird situation. I feel like Stephanie, like you were saying, she's just kind of out of it. I don't think she even knows. She's very, very, very strange. But Ryan's a jerk, and I really cannot stand him after that last episode.
All right. Well, Max, I feel like we covered. Yeah. And you can totally correct me if I'm wrong this time. But I feel like we covered all of the couples. Can I ask? I'd like to end on a positive note every time. And even if it's not positive, I just want to know who you're most interested in watching in the next upcoming episodes. Like, which couple are you the most invested in? To see whether it's their chaos, their love story, whatever the case is.
I'd probably go back to Andrew and Amira because I don't know a spoiler on them. Andrew's kind of keeping his lips sealed. And I'd probably go with them. I'm just more so just curious, what the heck happens like with these two? Does she go back to France? Does she come to California? Does she dump him? Like, I'm just so curious how this plays out. And I really have no guesses. So I would say Andrew and Amira. But how about yourself?
I'm going to have to say Julia and Brandon. As much as it kills me and it irks me to watch this mom and potential daughter-in-law kind of go head to head because it would, again, I have my own relationship with my mom. Yeah. It hits a soft spot, but neither one of them are going to back down. And if they keep pushing this farm life that she's not used to on her, she's obviously going to snap. And the mom at this point is like, look, little girl, this was my son for the last however many years, and you need to back down. And neither one of them seem to be doing that. So I'm interested in seeing what happens with them.
It's going to be crazy. I think all these couples, it's been a little bit frustrating because there's so much drama, some negativity, and a lot of fighting. But I think it's going to be pretty good. And I'm really curious to see just for the whole show is where a lot of these couples are actually being filmed right now in January and February and even like middle of March of last year. So now the pandemic's going to start kind of happening on camera. I'm curious how that's going to affect the relationship. I think it could be kind of interesting.
Oof. All right. So we'll just have to stay tuned. And Max, as always, it's a pleasure. And thank you so much for jumping on with me last minute.
Not a problem.
Everybody, if you live under a rock and you don't know where to find Max, go check him out on YouTube at the Celeb Talk Guy. And Max, we know you're busy. You have your own successful show. You're always pumping out videos. But if we do, towards the end of the season, get a chance to steal you, we would love to.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on the channel. It's been a blast. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right. And we will go check out Married at First Sight just because of you.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's going to be a good season. Great show. So I would definitely appreciate it.
All right, Max. Well, we'll see you next time and Happy New Year.
Yep, you too.
All right. All right, guys. And also, Master of Blackjack, to the Bottom Feeder Army, thank you so much for joining us and letting us take over this channel. It's been a blast, a pleasure, really. It's always fun to jump on with Max because he knows the little tidbits behind the scenes, and sometimes he has some spoilers, and you have to just go check out his channel and see for yourself because he's definitely interesting to watch, and especially his take on everything. But in the meantime, Master of Blackjack has been working hard himself on a new kind of recap article situation. So you'll have to start checking it out. masterblackjack.medium, medium.com, where he does his own write-up of the current episode that we just watched. So I put that in the description of this video. And I also put Max's information if you guys want to go follow him. Go check out Master of Blackjack's recap. And yeah, wow, that was a mouthful. All right, Bottom Feeder Army, thank you guys so much. And everybody else, we love you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to Max. Subscribe to Master of Blackjack. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.